Mojo Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Today we are at long last, a little over 2 years after the initial pre-order went up, we are opening the Mezco 112 Collective Destro action figure. I am very excited. I think while I don't collect them like I used to, I do still think that the Mezco 112 Collective action figures are the very best figures on the market today. I have a very high opinion of their quality, the way that they're done, the thought that gets put into them. And reviewing them is somewhat of an onerous task, but I gotta say, after that last Batman review, this one should be a piece of cake. Famous last words though, right? So the packaging has this really cool, like old school looking illustration of Destro. I like what they went with here, because when you're dealing with characters from the 80s run of G.I. Joe, there's a lot of nostalgia involved. So a slick presentation almost would have been kind of off-putting. It has a ton of character. It's very appealing. It looks cool. It reminds me of the old G.I. Joe art. This is one of my favorite boxes Mezco has ever made. I love the G.I. Joe at the top. You can see it's got a nice gloss on it. And then the 112, you know, their boxes are always nice looking. Glossy Cobra sign on the side. Now, yes, I would prefer Mars Industries, but I think we all just have to accept that Cobra is how he's presented in media for the most part. And of course, Destro. Back of the box, we've got, I mean, it basically is the original card art. This is just a closer up image of it. Destro, the enemy. Just fantastic. Let's open it up and see what's in here. So we've got Snake Eyes. Roadblock, actually, I think is the next one. Then Snake Eyes. They have not yet offered Firefly. And then what, Storm Shadow maybe is after that. I've honestly kind of lost track, because when pre-orders get so far out that I just kind of stopped thinking about it. I've still got my list, but with these, and I know people feel differently about how long it takes companies like Mezco, well, especially Mezco and Super 7 to put stuff out. I'm willing to wait, because in the end, the product is almost always worth it. All right, so these are product care guidelines. This basically describes how to handle a high-end collectible. It's important information to have, and right here is a key line. These are not toys and are not meant for children. They are designed with adult collectors in mind, and they didn't used to put this warning in here. Now they do, and I think it's important. Right here we have a little description of how to use Destro's accessories, because he has a case with light-up features that we'll get into. Maybe I won't have to look at that. Maybe I will. Who knows? Oh, man. And this is very exciting. Okay. Let's first take all these 112 figures usually feature 2 layers of plastic trays. One for the stand and some of the accessories, one for the figure. So let's go ahead and get the stand and the accessories out of here first, just because. And these are always very securely, precisely fitted, so that the trays are holding the accessories in place. And in general, no tape is necessary. You've got a Mylar bag for storing all of the accessories once you've taken them out of the box. Set that to the side. You know, I've been saying Mylar for years. I don't know if that's what that is. I have no idea. It's an acid-free plastic. We have the stand and armature that all 112 figures come with. Got a great-looking Cobra logo on the stand. And honestly, if they just stick with... Well, they can't just stick with G.I. Joe and Cobra, because if down the line they get to some Dreadnoks or whatever, they will need to use other insignias, logos, whatever. But that's our stand and our armature. Batteries are included for the case. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on. Here is Oh, wow. So you're looking at this and thinking, oh, cool, it's sculpted weapons. But this is actually a rifle that can be assembled. This isn't just like a flat sculpt of, oh, cool, we'll stick that in the briefcase and it'll look like a cool thing. This actually can be assembled, and we'll do that in a little bit here. Here is the case itself with a hinged handle. It opens up to reveal interesting Cobra devices. I don't know if any of these might not be removable since they're part of the light up feature, but you can see you can interchange this with that rifle. And I do like that the case does not have a Cobra logo on it. Well, it does inside, but on the outside it's just a plain case, which I prefer. And then finally, we've got a couple of different pieces of weaponry. We'll take a look at those a little bit later as well. Oh my gosh, the craftsmanship and quality on these is just unparalleled, in my opinion. All right, so here we go. You can see we've got the figure and a ton of accessories surrounding the figure. So I'm going to carefully lift off this top tray, or cover on top of the tray. Set that to the side. And we've got, I'm kind of saving the figure reveal for last. We've got a ton of hands. Here, we're going to do this. We're going to do the big dump. Okay. Tons of hands in different positions designed to, oh, we've got a cartridge as well. Let's set that over to the side. Lots of different positions in the hands for grasping, for pointing, for gesticulating. This is one thing every single Mezco figure has in common, is they come with a crazy number of expressive interchangeable hands. You have an attachment for Destro's wrist rockets. Beautiful translucent plastic. I'll be interested to see how this fits. I imagine there's just a little piece that pops out of his wrist, but very cool effect. We've got a couple of alternate portraits that we'll set to the side for right now. And then one last thing before we get to the figure, we've got this, which is a holster, it looks like. So we'll set that off to the side, and we will reveal, finally, Destro. Oh, man. Oh, he's got interchangeable holsters. Whoa. Okay. So we got to get the figure out of here. Oh, gosh. Look at this guy. All right. Let's reveal. Man. That is incredible. Okay. Set him off to the side there. And then finally, we've got two more little pieces. We've got another. Look at that detail. And then Destro's necklace, which I'll take out in just a minute. I'm not going to mess with that yet either. Get our desiccant back over here. Always keep track of your silica gel desiccant. You don't want children or pets getting a hold of that. So, oh man, I just knocked over a bunch of stuff. A running theme here. Needless things. So, let's take a look at Destro. Okay, so he's got articulation. Well, first, just look at that portrait. Beautiful. The silver shines in a very pleasing manner. It has an almost sort of organic feel to it, or look to it. It's not, it's not vac metal, but it wouldn't be in this format. I think it looks fantastic. I'm trying to figure out what the articulation is because typically it looks like at the bottom right here, there's some movement, but I want to be very careful with that collar. Yeah, there's a little movement at the base of the neck. Not much, though. Really, no, barely any at all. Maybe that was just in my head because that doesn't seem to be moving. So really, all of your movement is at the top of the neck, but you still get a very expressive range. Not quite as much as most 112s, but I think that collar down there at the base of Destro's mask would kind of prevent there being much going on there anyway. I really like the way they've done this collar. This other, his regular like disco collar, because it has, I mean, it looks like the original figure, but they've just given it some definition and some detail. And then if you look at this, the fabric of his uniform actually goes up onto the back of the collar. That's amazing. Man, and look at the detail. Oh, okay, so there's our wrist rocket. Wait, which way does that go? It goes that way. Okay. So that plugs back in, hopefully pretty securely. All right, yeah, it seems good. So look at the detail, the tampoed detail on his uniform. Now, people ask, oh, won't this stuff flake off or stretch or tear or, whatever, some other kind of issues. And I would think that, okay, maybe this doesn't stay on super well. A magnet might have been a better alternative for attaching this because it doesn't seem to want to stay in place. I might heat that up to see if it can get a little better fit. Seems not great. Oh my gosh, look at the other side. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to pull that off for now. I wonder if this fits a little bit better. Not that I plan to display it this way. No, not really. That, I gotta say, that could be a little more snug. And I wish it were. Well, honestly, I kind of wish it was just a magnet. Because they probably could have fitted a magnet in here and kept it kind of flat. And then that would have just stuck on. But this, I gotta say, this does not fit particularly well. I'm gonna set that off to the side. All right, so anyway, back to talking about the suit. I'm sorry, it's easy to get distracted because there's so many different features of these 112 figures to look at. You'd think, doesn't it stretch? Doesn't it tear? Doesn't it get wear over time? I have had the first 112 figure that I purchased this is the first one they offered, the Dark Knight Returns Batman. And I have had no issues whatsoever. And I've taken it down and posed it. I don't play with them. And as it said, these are for adult collectors. These are not toys. These are not for everyday play. And if you're going to do that, then no, I wouldn't expect these uniforms to hold up. But I've got over 30 112 figures, and fairly regularly pull them down and kind of pose them, and you got to dust and whatever else, and I'll try to find different poses and things. I've never had any trouble with any of this material at all. Articulation wise, I'm gonna have to stand up here. I hope my chair is not too loud. I gotta stand up. We've had a long day, and I gotta really get into this guy a little bit more. All right, so articulation wise, these are better than Marvel Legends, I would say. And it's hard to, I am not the guy that's gonna like cut this off him to show you the articulation, but there's a ball joint here on the torso. There's a ball joint at the waist. So you have a very human range of movement there. The shoulders, you've got a bicep swivel Got the shoulders with, sometimes they have a butterfly joint sort of analog, sometimes they don't. It doesn't feel like Destro does. But that, for me personally, you guys know how I feel about articulation. That's not really a deal breaker. As I always say, Destro is not Spider-Man. And then on the hips, there's a swivel here. And then kind of a standard hip joint that I don't know quite how to describe it here. But you can get... They can sit. They can be in seated positions to sit in chairs or whatever. Double jointed knees. The ankles are honestly disappointment is too strong a word. The ankles are the biggest challenge of a Mezco 112 figure because of the way they handle their aesthetics. Their ankles are just never quite what I want them to be. It is a peg on a ball, kind of like the NECAs used to be. Now it has much better range than an older NECA figure, but they do not use sort of standard articulation. And then there's a swivel at the boot top, but that is, I don't usually even mess with that one because that's usually where the soft goods interact with the boots, and I don't want to mess with that too much. And I'm not, again, I'm not a figure photographer. I'm not a big crazy posing guy. So for me, it works. So anyway, that's the articulation. You can see he's got... It's a little unusual for the pieces like this belt and this thigh holster to not be connected to the figure through the soft goods. I believe that's kind of a new thing for 112s because usually they are. And it does, while it seems restrictive in some cases, it does keep these pieces where they're supposed to be. So we've got the thigh holster with an interchangeable piece. We've got one for more of a pistol type thing, and then one, well, we'll take a look at the weapons that he came with and figure out what goes where. Very interesting that the extra magazines, because I feel relatively sure that comes out. Yep. So you can see, I mean, that detail is just wild. Interesting that the extra magazines for the rifle, which, by the way, is a bullet-firing rifle. You'd think it would be like a pulse rifle or something, but it isn't. Just look at... Okay, so we've looked at the figure. The belt looks incredible. Like, detail-wise, this figure looks incredible. This is a perfect 112 Collective Destro, in my opinion. Look at the zippers on his boots, the way they go under that guard piece on the front. The gloss right here, the soles, just all of this detail is... This could very easily, in my opinion, be a real-world Destro. Now, is this preferable to the classified Destro? I mean, it's a different kind of thing. To me, they're not comparable because they're just different. Oh, and his other gauntlet here, if you check out just the nice detail on that, and then, boom, pops open, and you've got a great little display screen. Let's get more detail there, which is an excellent feature. And that does close pretty securely and stays in place. So, okay, so yeah, figure-wise, there is Destro. Let's get back to this rifle that he comes with. So he comes with this rifle. Look at the rivets painted on this. Look at the gloss at this top portion here. Beautiful detail. And again, this is, this is what Mezco does. And then the pistol that was packed with the rifle that also has... Look at the painted detail on this thing. Look, oh gosh. this is just a thing now. If it'll even work. Just those little silver details. And check this out. My guess is that this magazine, I might not have the fingernails to get it out. Oh wait, that may not be. No, that's not. Okay, I thought this was going to be the same magazine as these. So that may not be a removable piece right there. And it kind of looks like it. And it wouldn't surprise me if it is. But I do not have the fingernails to get to it if that's the case. So these, Destro did not include any blast effects, but he does have, his weapons do have the holes to accommodate blast effects from other Mezco sets. All right, let's take a look at these other portraits now. We've got a grinning Destro portrait with the gums showing. This is just maniacal and wonderful, and I love it. And if you don't have to put it on the figure, but I think it's great. I don't think I'm probably going to display it with this, but I just love how, I just love how expressive this is. I think it's a great extra piece to throw in there. It has a very Vinnie Jones Ballad of G.I. Joe feel to it, and I appreciate it for that. And then the other portrait may be more traditional fans' liking, and that is a much more mask-looking version of the face that I think really captures that original card art in a nice way. I don't know which one of these I'm going to go with on the... you know what? The classified Destro seems a little bit more like this one, just for variant's sake. I might go with this more mask-like portrait. Let's see how it looks on the figure. Fortunately, Mezco's are almost always pretty easy. Oh, well, we've got the head off. Yeah, that's your one point of articulation for the head. Mezcos are almost always pretty easy to switch parts out on. I would highly recommend, if you get this figure, just be careful handling the head, because it's possible a stray fingernail or something could scratch the finish on this. Just how it's produced. And I really like that one, but I really like the other one too. All right. So let's stand him right over here and take a look at... Oh, okay. So wait, this holster is for that pistol. And look at just the gloss on the grip. Detail's fantastic. Okay. And then... So this holster must be for this pistol. Oh, wait. So this has a suppressor on it. Oh, my gosh. This is wild. Okay, let's get all these pieces out of here and just go ahead and put this thing together. Oh, look at that. Wow. Wow. This is so cool. So this is a softer plastic, almost like a rubber. That really clings to... I wish the wrist piece stuck to the figure as well as these pieces. Oh, man. Whoo. As well as these pieces stick to this insert. Man, that barrel or suppressor. There we go. Okay. All of the pieces are out. Let's see if your old pal Dave can figure out how to assemble this little device here. The answer could well be no. Well, we know this goes on the front. Oh my gosh, this is wild. And that's got to go, holy cow. Oh, that pegs in somewhere. Oh, it pegs in right there. You guys, the teeny tiny little parts you've got to navigate here are kind of insane. So there's the stock. I mean, that's got to go like that, right? Okay. And then the magazine. What a how James Bondy is this thing? Like, it's almost unnecessarily complicated. This is wild. So wait, what is... Oh, this is... Wait, is this another... Oh. So you've got two choices of magazines to put in this thing. And then the scope, which... Look at this tiny, tiny little hole that I've got to line this up with. I'm a little concerned about breaking this, trying to do it here. Oh, there it goes, right into... Look at this! What a wild little weapon! Man, that's just cool. So, I feel like all of this doesn't fit. So this is Destro's pistol, I believe, right? This is his original Real American Hero pistol that he came with. And that should fit in there like so. Wow, what an experience that was. Not quite as crazy as... oh, it goes... Oh, there we go. Goes all the way in. I kind of don't like this piece not being attached to the figure like some of the older Mezcos were. I kind of wish it was just on through the soft goods. But anyway, I mean, it stays put well enough. But there you go. There's that pistol. And then finally, let's set him off to the side. And open up our briefcase. There's the on-off switch. This just pulls apart. And you can see you've got a little slide right there for your included batteries. Now, knowing which way to put them in. Some of you geniuses out there probably know exactly which way they're supposed to go in there. I am not one of you. I feel like this should go the other way. Look, it has a little arrow. Well, yeah, I get it. I get that's where they go, but which way do they go in? Oh, wait, you know what? I bet the instructions will tell us. Okay, instructions don't really tell us, but looking at the diagram, it looks like that's the flat circular part facing up. So we'll try it that way. I had the Two-Face that Mezco did had a similar thing. I had a heck of a time getting the batteries in. And that seems to be what's happening here as well. And see, they're difficult to push into place. And if I've got them in wrong, they're going to be difficult to get out. All right, let's... Okay, that was a harrowing task. I do kind of wish Mezco would figure out a different way to do that. But the batteries are in there. I guess I could have left that open until we started it up again. So the batteries are in there now. It was just difficult to get them in and a little terrifying because you're afraid you're going to break something the whole time. But they're in there with my big clumsy fingers. And it's got a little on-off switch, which is nice. Turn it on. And look at that. Now, I assure you, that top light is green as green can be. It doesn't really look it in the video. Let's, So that is a very green light. That is a nice red light on the side. And these almost look like giant versions of his wrist rockets, and I kind of wish they came out of there and interacted with the figure. But also, they're kind of big and cartoony for that. And then that is the off button, and that slots right into the briefcase, which I didn't take a close enough look at the Cobra. It's translucent. It doesn't glow or anything, but it is translucent. So that works that way. And then you can also fit his little insert for his pistol in there. Both excellent pieces. That closes right back up. And you've got a hand that will interact with that. So there's the case. There's Destro. Last thing we've got is Destro's necklace, which is wrapped up in this little plastic bag that I kind of just want to cut through. But I'm sure it's got an adhesive tab here, so I don't have to destroy it. There we go. What a challenge. And there is Destro's necklace. Silver actual metal links. Translucent ruby that looks fantastic. Look, there's even sculpted detail on the back. So let's take that. Probably isn't going to fit over his entire whole head. So we're just going to take it and get it over that neck. Kind of get it between the neck and the collar. Get a little nice snug spot right there. So it sits properly. And I'm going to put the other head back on. Or actually, you know what? I'll put the crazy head on. Let's see what the crazy head looks like on the figure. There is Crazy Head Destro with his ruby necklace. If it is not ruby, tell me in the comments. If it's crimson selconium or some crazy thing like that. Oh, man, this is a gorgeous Destro figure. If the 112 collective figures are not your thing, I totally get it. Well, look, you know what I didn't talk about? Look at what it's the big, beefy, sculpted chest that necklace is nestled up against. Now, that pretty much goes along with the skin tones of Conan and a lot of the other 112 figures. So it's he's maybe a little paler than I thought Destro might be, but I do believe it perfectly matches the color of the original figure. As a matter of fact, you know what? I do that all the time here, so let's keep it up now. Okay, so there is your Mezco Destro. There is your original Destro. And just for fun, because he was right there, here is Classified Destro, which is a fantastic figure, no doubt. But I gotta say this 112, I think, is the highest quality, finest Destro action figure money can buy. Although I will say, I gotta admit, this is disappointing that his wrist rockets don't stay attached any better than they do. I might stick a little rubber cement in there to keep it in place, but I shouldn't have to. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about needless things, and as always, Cobra! Cobra. Hey, sorry guys. I was sitting here taking my pics for the thumbnail, and I realized I didn't do a swap out on the holsters. So here's how that works. You can see you've got the little pegs. Look at that silver. And all the painting on the seams. The stitching, those buckles, just incredible. Just line those up. And they plug right in. Actually works a lot better than I thought it would. So good for Mezco for getting that part figured out. So there you go. That's how that works. And then there's a little, I don't usually get this close up, but there's a little 2x zoom, since that's what I was in, of this guy. Wonderful figure. Okay, so real quick, I've never done this before, but I was cleaning up my Mezco section, making room for the new Batman and the new Destro here, and as I was figuring out how I wanted to display this Destro, who I don't have pegged into the stand because I'm still kind of figuring it out, I was messing with his briefcase here, which, as we pointed out, has a little on-off switch and lights up. Looks incredible. Great piece. And I mentioned Two Faces, very similar but different, much smaller as you can see, case that I've got out there on display with Two Face. It sits on the shelf just open like this. And how this one works, which it's in the review, but I thought in case, oh, sorry, I tore my thumb open earlier, cleaning up. So in case you just didn't want to go watch that review, that button clicks in, and if you can see, that little light flashes. Pretty ingenious, awesome little device. I love it. But, so as I'm looking at Destro's, and I decided I wanted to put his, bomb in there, I see this piece right here, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, what is this? Because I did notice that there's no closure on this one the way that there is on the Two Face one. So I am a little concerned just over time, it's just going to fall open like that. But anyway, I just noticed this. And I was like, wait a minute, this looks like a hinge. Does something pop out of here? What is this? And then I realized this opens up. Now, this is a sticker. So I got to tell you, compared to Mezco's other stuff, I'm not super impressed with this being a sticker, because almost everything they do is tampo and sculpt. So honestly, but this is clearly supposed to be like screens, like not a 3D keyboard, but it's just not quite to the quality I expect from Mezco, but at the same time, well, and this one's even a little bit crooked, but at the same time, such a cool feature that I did not even notice, and this happens sometimes, just a small thing that I won't notice, but what a cool feature in your Cobra briefcase. So there you go. One last thing, like 2 weeks after I actually recorded the review, I'm glad I put the Super 7 guys up first. Well, kind of glad. Comments over there, not the nicest in the world, but not towards me, towards Super 7, so that's not my problem. Thanks for watching, you guys.
Smash that like button if you like needless things.